A very good morning all the students. Today we're gonna do our revision of chapter 1, that is chemical reactions and equation. In this chapter we have read about how to form chemical equations, what happens in a chemical reactions, how to balance chemical equations and different types of chemical reactions. So chemical reaction is simply when one compound react with the other compounds and a product is formed. So the substance which takes part in a chemical reaction are called as reactants, and the new substance which produced as a result is called as the product. For example, here in this activity 1.1, we will take some magnesium ribbon and then we will heat them. So heating will be done in the presence of oxygen because oxygen is which is very important for the combustion. Now this magnesium ribbon will, when burn in the presence of oxygen, it will give a dazzling white flame. So that white magnesium is burned in the presence of air or oxygen. We get a different product after this. So we got magnesium oxide. So here magnesium and oxygen act as reactant. Okay, these are the reactants and this is the product. So when reactants combine to form a different product, it's called a chemical reaction. So this is the example of chemical reaction. Now next comes the step how to balance the chemical reaction. Before that, there are some characteristics in a chemical reaction. So they are change in state, change in color, evolution of gas and change in temperature. So when there is a change in the state, so there means it's a chemical reaction. When there is a change in color, that means there is a chemical reaction. Or when there is an evolution of gas, so either of any of these factors, they tell us that there is a chemical reaction which is going on. So any of these changes occur in any reaction, that means that is a chemical reaction. So here is an activity we're going to take. If we take lead nitrate solution in a test tube and into it we add some potassium iodide solution, so what do we observe? Like for example, lead nitrate is PbNO3 whole twice, because Pb has valency 2 and it's a formula of nitrate NO3. So it will combine with what? Potassium iodide. So the formula of potassium iodide is Ki. So we will get lead iodide. It will be PbI2 because the valency of lead is 2 and iodine is 1. It will be PbI2 and then we will get 2KNO3. So if we'll see this here, we'll see that this is our double displacement reaction because this lead nitrate, from this nitrate has been removed. So Pb will combine with this iodine because Pb is a metal and iodine is a non-metal. So it will this will be displaced. Potassium will combine with here. It will form potassium nitrate and then the Pb will combine with here. So it will be a double displacement reaction and then we will get a yellow color precipitates of lead iodide. Okay, it will be yellow color. So here there is a change in color and change in color is a characteristic of chemical reaction. Also we will get a precipitate, PPT, yellow PPT. Okay, so these yellow PPT are also a change in state because they were solution, and we get a PPT like insoluble part, so it is also a change in state. So it is a chemical reaction. So next is take a few granules in a conical flask or test tube and add dilute hydrochloric acid or sulfuric acid to this. Then we will see what happens here. Like we will have some granules and then we will add some we are already having, okay, and we will add some dilute hydrochloric acid into this. Then we will see that there will be a production of hydrogen gas because when acids reacts with metal, they produce salts and hydrogen gas. So a salt will be formed. Okay, so it will form zinc chloride ZnCl2 and along with that we will get some hydrogen gas. So it will be a evolution of gas. That means it's a chemical reaction. Okay, and if you mix water in calcium oxide, then we see that there is a lot of production of heat. That means that is a a hint, or that is a part of a chemical reaction, because there is a change in temperature. So it means that it is a chemical reaction. Now after this we will come to the chemical equation, like how we will form chemical equations. Like here I've done that we are taking two reactants, and then we have got product. So in this side, in the left hand side, we write the reactants names, and here we write the products. So whatever we take as a reactant, the product will be formed out of those compound only. There will be no other, any other metal or non-metal or any other element will be added into this, because in a chemical reaction we have to follow the law of conservation of mass, that matter can neither be created nor be destroyed, so it has to be maintained. So which elements react, so they have to maintain there in the product side also. So here is an example of magnesium plus oxygen and magnesium oxide. I hope you know the process. So it is very simple, like it will be Mg plus O2. It will give MgO. So if we'll see reactant side and product side, so elements are just Mg and O. So in the side of reactant it's 1 Mg, and here also 1 Mg. Oxygen is 2 and here is 1. So we're gonna do 2 oxygen here. So for that we have to add a 2 here. So it becomes 2, okay. So but here it becomes 2 Mg. So we're gonna put 2 here. It will be 2 Mg here and 2 Mg here. So it is balanced. This is how we balance the reaction. This you don't have to do for the exams. But you just have to know the procedure, and when you will have practice, then you don't need to do all this. This is only for the beginning. Another one we're going to take is Zn plus H2SO4 gives ZnSO4 plus H2. Here in this we're going to check elements. Okay, Zn and then H, then S and then O. Okay, so Zn is 1, and okay, reactants and product. So 1, and hydrogen is 2 here. Okay, and here is also 2. Sulfur is 1, here also 1. Oxygen is 4, and here also 4. So this is a balanced reaction. No need to do anything else. So next, let's say H2O2. Like hydrogen plus oxygen gives water. Simple reaction. Okay, now hydrogen and oxygen. So hydrogen 2, oxygen 2, hydrogen 2, oxygen 1. So we have to do 2 here. So 2H2O. Now here it has become 4H2O. So we have to do 2H2. 2H2 plus O2 gives 2H2O. So this is how we do. So next we're going to try, when iron reacts with water, it produces ferric oxide. Okay, so it's Fe plus H2O. This is a difficult question, and most of the time it comes in the exams. It will form Fe3O4 plus H2. So here I would like to tell you that we have written Fe3O4, and it is also written as F. Sometimes iron reacts with oxygen, it produces FeO. And sometimes when iron reacts with water, or we can call steam, it produces Fe2O3. But actually a mixture of Fe3O4 is called as iron second, and or just like this third oxide is known as FeO.Fe2O3. So this is called as magnetic iron oxide actually. So we name it as iron second third oxide, which means that if we'll combine this, so it will be Fe3, because 1 here and 2 here, 3, and O, 1 here and 3 here, 4, Fe3O4. So we will not call it ferrous or ferric oxide, we will call it the iron second third oxide. Okay, now if when we'll balance this reaction, we write Fe plus H2O. It will give Fe3O4 plus H2. So to balance this, we will let reactant here and product here, and then here we will name the elements. So when we write the elements name, here we have only iron, hydrogen and oxygen. Alright, so iron here is 1, hydrogen here is 2, oxygen here is 1. Now Fe here is 3, oxygen is 4, hydrogen is 2, oxygen is 4. Okay, so now we want to increase the number, so we'll multiply this with 3. 3 Fe, hydrogen here is 2 and here is 2. It's okay, we will not touch it. Now oxygen here is 1 and here is 4, so we'll just write 4 here, so it will be 4 oxygen. But by adding 4 here, we have also made hydrogen 8, so it will be 4 here as well, it becomes 8. So now we need to add again 4 here to make it 8 to hydrogen. So we have done it 4 hydrogen. So again we'll count, it will be 3 and 3, okay, 4 hydrogen and 2 here, 8 hydrogen, 4 and H2, so 8 hydrogen, O4, O4. So this is balance. It will be 3 Fe plus 4 H2O gives Fe3O4 plus 4 H2. This is a balanced reaction. I hope you have understood now how to balance the reactions. So after this we'll move to, this is also in your book given, this example and this example. Very clearly you can go through this. This is the procedure which has been given to you. Okay, so you will know it very easily. There are a few more examples. Now writing the symbols of physical states. Physical states means the example, this reaction. Now here is written S. S means that this iron is in solid state. Here it's G. Now this G stands for this is in a gaseous state. Like this is water, but it will not be liquid water, it will be steam. Okay, so it will be steam, like it is in gaseous state, because we have read that metals reacts, there are some metals which react with water, cold water like potassium and sodium. Then there are some metals which do not react with cold water but they react with hot water like magnesium and calcium. And there are some metals which do not react with even hot water but they react with steam like aluminium, iron, so they react with steam. So this react with steam, so that's why it's in gas here. And then we will get Fe3O4 as in the solid form. Okay, and hydrogen will be released in the form of gas. So these symbols tell us about the physical state of the elements. Okay, like here it's written CO, like carbon monoxide gas, reacts with hydrogen, so gas, and then we will get CH3OH. It is a liquid. Okay, so here also CO2 is in aqueous form. It is a liquid form, like liquid CO2. But we have read that CO2 is not liquefied. It is also can be converted into gaseous or a solid state. That's why we call it a dry ice. But it happens in the plants. So with the help of water, it will form. This is aqueous and this is liquid. So aqueous means almost in a dilute form. So in the presence of sunlight and chlorophyll, it gives aqueous C. It will be in a food form, like plants will absorb it. Okay, so this is a glucose C6H12O6, and then again oxygen will be in aqueous form and it will be also in a liquid form. So because water is liquid, that's why we have done liquid here. And aqueous means whenever we mix anything in water. Okay, whenever we mix anything in water, it is called as aqueous. Like if we melt iron, it will be in a melted state. We can fill it in a jar. It will spill that liquid iron. It will spread in the ground. So we don't call it aqueous iron because there is no water into it. But if we dissolve sugar into water, we call it aqueous solution. So when there is water added into something, we call it aqueous, and when anything is converted into liquid state or its melting state, we call it as liquid. Okay, so done with this also. Next is types of chemical reaction. So we have types of chemical reaction. Like combination reaction is very easy when we combine two things, like when we combine quicklime or CaO. You need to remember those things, like CaO is called as quicklime and calcium carbonate is CaCO3 and CaOH whole twice is calcium hydroxide. Please don't get confused. So here we have a beaker, and then in this we have some calcium oxide CaO, and then we add some water. So this is a very exothermic reaction. In this there is a combination and a new product is making. When we take two different reactants and we get a single product, it's called as a combination reaction, matlab combine ho raha hai. So it's a combination reaction, and this is a very exothermic reaction. Like if we'll touch the beaker from this wall, it will be very hot. Okay, so it's a reaction. CaO plus H2O gives CaOH whole twice. It's called slackline plus heat. So when we whitewash, you would have seen the people whitewashing, they mix this quicklime into a bucket of water, and then they get this liquid slackline. When this slackline reacts with CO2, it converts it into calcium carbonate, CaCO3. Okay, that is a different thing. After this, here also you can see like this calcium hydroxide which is produced, or which is called as slackline, is mixed with CO2. We get this calcium carbonate plus water. So this water, this questions comes in exams many times, that a solution of slackline produces by the reaction. This reaction we have done CaO calcium oxide or quicklime. And question comes in the exam, which substance we use for whitewashing. So students get confused at what to write, this or this. So actually the answer is, we don't use this dry powder, okay, we use in the liquid form. So we used calcium hydroxide, not calcium oxide. Okay, whenever the question comes that which substance we use for whitewashing, so we used calcium hydroxide for whitewashing, which is called as slackline, not this. Okay, so this is used for whitewashing, and what happens, this reacts slowly with the carbon dioxide, and when it reacts with CO2 in the walls, then calcium carbonate is formed after some days, which gives a white shiny finish to the wall. Okay, so now this can also be converted back. So it is a decomposition reaction actually. So when we'll heat this, we'll again get CaO and CO2 gas. So it will from this it will form this, and from this it will form this, and if we'll again heat this, we'll again get this CaO back. We're gonna study it when we'll do decomposition reaction. So after this we go to the decomposition reaction. Here you can see that this activity, we will take some ferrous sulfate crystals in a dry boiling tube, and then we will note the color of ferrous sulfate crystal. Heat the boiling test tube over the flame of the burner of a spirit lamp as shown in figure. So in this we will take some ferrous sulfate. It will be green in color. They are green in color. You have to just remember the colors also, because sometimes color are being asked. So ferrous sulfate is green in color. When we'll heat it in a test tube, we will see that the color is changing. So the color from the green, let's write G here, green, and the color will change from green to brown. Okay, it will be a brown color ferric oxide, Fe2O3. So this brown color ferric oxide will be formed along with sulfur dioxide. So we will also get some fumes, like you can see here, this girl is having some fumes. So that those fumes will be of burning sulfur because of the presence of sulfur dioxide and sulfur trioxide. So these two gases will be formed, that is sulfur dioxide and trioxide. So when we'll burn this FeSO4, we will get brown color ferric oxide along with some fumes of sulfur oxide and sulfur trioxide. Now it's the sulfur dioxide. Now this is a decomposition reaction, because here a single compound is breaking into different products. So it is a decomposition, like it's breakdown. Okay, not combining, but they are breaking down. Okay, so there are few more examples which I've told you just now, that about CaCO3, which is called as limestone, which, like calcium hydroxide, when react with CO2, it forms calcium carbonate, and then we'll heat it, we'll again get quicklime and CO2. Okay, so there is another activity of lead nitrate. Like we will take 2 grams of lead nitrate powder in a boiling tube, hold the boiling tube with a pair of tongs and heat it over the flame. Like we will take some lead nitrate in this boiling test tube, okay, and then we'll heat it. After heating, this lead nitrate will decompose into a yellow lead monoxide and then nitrogen dioxide. Like again, some gases will produce. There will be some brown fumes and along with oxygen gas. So it is again an example of decomposition reaction. Okay, so we'll get a yellow color lead monoxide, which is called as PbO, and along with that we'll get some nitrogen dioxide and oxygen. Here the reaction is PbNO3 whole twice. It's called a lead nitrate. We'll heat this. We'll get yellow colored yellow. Okay, please remember the color as well. So this is the yellow colored lead oxide along with nitrogen dioxide and oxygen. So this is also a decomposition reaction. After this, another example which is very important. Here we can see a process of electrolysis. Here we are having 2 iron rod, graphite rod, cathode and anode, and 2 boiling test tube which is inverted, and in this we have some water in the this beaker. So when the current is passed, we see that here in both the test tubes we see some air bubbles, and in one test tube there is volume is little higher and in the other volume is little lower. So in which the volume is little lower, water, that means the gas is more, and here the gas is less. So this is a process of electrolysis of water. That means the water, like H2O, will decompose into hydrogen and oxygen. So this is the electrolysis of water. Here the water will decompose, or it will dissociate into its ion like hydrogen and oxygen. So if we'll see here, we'll see that the volume is not same. This is anode, and anode is always positive, and this one is cathode, and cathode is negative. Okay, so in the side of cathode we see that the volume is more, that is here is hydrogen gas, and here in the side of anode the volume is lesser, that is it's an oxygen gas. And if you remember the formula, it will be like, it is H2O. So 2 hydrogen will be using oxygen, and it will be a sharing of bonds. Okay, so we haven't done covalent bonding yet, but I just tell you, that is this hydrogen will share 2 electrons from this oxygen, and this will share with this oxygen, and they will have 8 electrons. Okay, so because oxygen also wants 2 more electrons and hydrogen want 1, so it will be sharing, so it forms 2H. So this is how it happens. That is why we get a lesser amount of oxygen and more amount of hydrogen, and hydrogen will go to the negative side because it has a positive ion on it. Okay, so it will have a positive ion, and oxygen is a negative ion. That is why it will go to the positive ion. Okay, now after this, decomposition also has 3 different types. That is thermal decomposition, and this was the electrical decomposition with the help of light, electrolysis, and one is thermal decomposition by heating, and the other is by photolytic, like by the help of light. So this was a thermal decomposition example, like we are heating this lead nitrate, or in the case of CaCO3 or ferrous sulfate, and this is example of light, like electrolysis. And the third one is photolytic decomposition. Now in this photolytic decomposition, if we take some silver bromide in a china dish or silver chloride, and then we'll keep it into sunlight, we'll see that the color will fade of this silver chloride or silver bromide, and it will break down into silver plus chlorine or silver plus bromine. Okay, so this is called as a thermal photolytic decomposition. Okay, so after this, here is an example: AgBr sunlight to Ag and Br separated. So this is an example of photolytic decomposition. After this comes with the displacement reaction. It's very easy. You have done in your since your class 8. Comes the displacement reaction. In this, the more reactive element displaces a less reactive elements from its solution. So for example, we have copper sulfate solution here, and we'll dip the nails here. So nail, if you remember, you would have learned your reactivity series. The iron is more reactive than copper. That is why it's placed above the copper in the reactivity series. So the copper will takes place of the iron will take place of the copper, and it will displace the copper from its sulfate solution, and it will form iron sulfate solution into a green color because of the formation of an iron sulfate, and then we'll get some red brown copper here. It is a displacement reaction. You can see in your book also. So reaction is this: Fe plus CuSO4. It will form FeSO4 and Cu. It's very simple, and same it will happen with zinc and Pb. So you have to learn each and every reaction which are given in your book. Each and every reaction written in the NCERT book is important, and there are few topics which have been cut from your syllabus that I'm gonna tell you. That is from chapter number 3, but in first chapter everything is coming. From chapter number 2 everything is coming. Okay, so next, the last one is double displacement reaction. After this we have two more topics. So in this, here was only displacement, but here is a double displacement reaction. When both of the when both of the metals interchange, that is called as a double displacement reaction. Like in those reactions in which two different atoms they displace by one other atom, so two compounds are exchange and the two different compounds are formed. Sometimes the products are insoluble in water, so they are called as the precipitates. So example here is NaSO4, like sodium sulfate, reacts with barium chloride, so it will interchange. It will be barium sulfate and sodium chloride. So barium sulfate will be a white PPT here. Okay, then we will get a white PPT. So we also call it as a precipitation reaction. So double displacement reaction can also be called as a precipitation reaction. But you have to keep in mind that it only takes place when we take these compounds in aqueous solution, because here is written, if you will take sodium sulfate in powdered form and BaCl2 in powder form, there will be no reaction. But when you'll take these in aqueous form, when you'll mix these in water, and this is also mixed in water, like we'll take this solution form, then we're gonna get a white PPT of barium sulfate and sodium chloride will be formed. So it will be in the solution, but it will form a precipitate. Another example, it's in your book but it's not in the reaction form. I've given you this in the reaction form also. So one more reaction would be, let's write it here, like AgNO3 silver nitrate, it reacts with NaCl, it gives AgCl plus NaNO3. That means this Ag combines with this Cl, and then this Ag combines with this Cl, goes here, and this NO with here. So it will AgCl and NaNO3. It will be silver chloride, and it will be sodium nitrate. Okay, so it is also a white PPT. Okay, so this is a double displacement reaction. One more we have done about lead nitrate and potassium iodide, then we will get lead iodide and potassium nitrate. I hope you remember that we just done in the beginning of the chapter. These are also double displacement reaction. After this we comes to oxidation and reduction. This is one of the most important topic. Okay, whenever there is any reaction, so either it's an oxidation or reduction, or sometimes both. So when there is an oxidation and reduction both, it's called as redox reaction. Now what is oxidation reaction? Now addition of oxygen is called as oxidation, or removal of hydrogen is also called as oxidation, or loss of electron is also called as oxidation. Now reduction, addition of hydrogen or removal of oxygen or gain of electron is called as reduction. So like here Cu plus O, if we'll heat copper in the presence of oxygen, we'll get CuO. So here Cu is adding oxygen here. It's an oxidation reaction. So this Cu will turn into black color. Okay, so when we heat copper, it will become black because of the formation of copper oxide. Then again we'll heat this copper oxide in the presence of hydrogen. Then this hydrogen will reduce it and it will become again copper. So oxygen is being removed, so it is becoming Cu. It will again be in brown color or red color copper. So it will again come back to its original color and this water will be released. So it is a reduction reaction. So here like CuO plus H2 gives you H2O. So here is hydrogen is having this oxygen. So here the oxidation taking place and here O is being removed. So here is reduction. So this is called as a redox reaction. So question comes that we have to find out whether it's an oxidation or reduction. So the compound which are being oxidized, like here this CuO is being oxidized. Here CuO is being reduced. So this is called as the oxidizing agent because this is helping this hydrogen to get oxidized. So this is a oxidizing agent because oxidizing agent will reduce themselves. And this H2 is a reducing agent because this is oxidized itself. Okay, so the oxidizing agent and reducing agent are the opposite of oxidation and reduction. The compounds which oxidize themselves are called as reducing agent and the compounds which reduces themselves are called as oxidizing agent. Okay. So after this corrosion is very simple. You can just read this, and rancidity, whenever the fat or oil containing food are exposed to the oxygen, then the taste gets foul and it gets a different smell. So it becomes stale also because of the rancidity. So this is a simple topic. So this is just, you can read this. Questions also come from this topic because of the taste changes because of this oxygen reaction. So we flush the bags with nitrogen because nitrogen do not react with the compounds. So nitrogen is used. Okay. So this is the end of the topic. Please study hard and practice well. And do practice oxidation and reduction questions. I've given you a lot of questions. So if you have any problem, you can ask me in the group. Okay, thank you. So till then, study hard and take care. Thank you.